Okay, so hopefully you took a few minutes there to think about logic models and to, go through all of the what you think would be the inputs, activities, outputs, and some of the higher level outcomes as a result of those inputs, activities, and outputs. And now we're going to change our focus a little bit and talk about some of the frameworks and policies that influence the project. So the first one we'll talk about is the Feminist International Assistance Policy, which is a key framework that informs both the IGNItE project and also obviously informs global development as a whole through Global Affairs Canada. So the FIAP, or the Feminist International Assistance Policy, was launched in June 2017 by the Government of Canada. And the policy articulates the Government of Canada's vision for Canada's global development assistance. The objective of the policy is to contribute to global efforts to eradicate poverty by specifically addressing inequality and by supporting the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So one of the biggest misconceptions about the Feminist International Assistance Policy, or the FIAP, is that it's just an add-on. So for example, we're used to having gender analysis sections or gender equality reporting sections in all of our proposals, plans, and reporting. But the FIAP is not just an added section in a proposal or a report. It is now the context for the entire proposal or the context for the entire report. It really sets out the criteria, the ambitions to be met, and the objectives to achieve. In fact, it is the entire context of Canada's global development efforts. It provides the lens through which we view our entire program as IGNItE. That is with gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls as our approach to global development. So one of the key principles of the FIAP states that no less than 95% of Canada's bilateral global development assistance initiatives will target or integrate gender equality and the empowerment of women. And we're pleased that IGNItE is one of those projects. So all of Canada's global development projects, including IGNItE, must meet the following criteria. So it must have clear alignment with at least one of the 6 action areas of the FIAP, and those 6 action areas are gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls, human dignity, a feminist approach, growth that works for everyone, environmental and climate action, inclusive governance, and peace and security. And the 2 action areas that IGNItE, our project, contributes to are Action Area 1, Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women and Girls, and Action Area 2, which is Growth that Works for Everyone. Another key requirement is that key elements of gender equality analysis are undertaken, so an analysis of the gaps, the barriers, institutional capacity, inequalities in existing power structures. It requires that key measures are taken to advance gender equality in terms of our approach. It requires inclusion in terms of methods to foster participation of women and girls and or the organizations and networks that defend their interests. And it also requires a minimum reach for the ultimate outcome. So in the case of IGNItE, we've actually targeted 70% instead of 60%. So we anticipate we'll be able to exceed the required reach. Gendered social norms often constrain young women's ability to benefit from employment training and entrepreneurship programs, and can also restrict and guide their career choices. So gender analysis were conducted in all 6 IGNItE project countries at the beginning of the project. And those analysis highlighted systemic and structural and relational barriers that are faced by women in terms of accessing inputs like capital, training, and supplies. For example, in some of the project countries, young women's access to training was significantly lower than men. And in others, although women's access to the training was similar or higher than men, it didn't actually translate to remunerative jobs at the same rate as men due to the lack of control over career choice. So facilitating the employment and empowerment of young women, which is the ultimate outcome of the project, really requires a multi-pronged approach to address the support and supports to address and support young women's access to skills, opportunities, and knowledge, and supports their control over decisions related to career paths, work time, and also decisions over the use of income generated through employment, and also their ability to avail themselves of their rights. So tackling access, control, and rights really requires innovation, both in how partners engage their constituents, how they understand problems, how they design and deploy solutions, and how they really work together to drive systems change. And that's really our goal in IGNItE. So we are aiming to achieve transformative systems change that goes beyond meeting women's practical needs and really focuses intentionally on meeting their strategic needs.